This will be my artist video project dedicated to Carrie Mae Weems. Excuse my voice, I am getting over a cold. To begin, Carrie Mae Weems was born April 20th, 1953. She was the second born. She became interested in the arts when she was introduced to Tom Venters and lifelong friend Catherine Jelski. She started to participate in street theater and dance. In 1969, she gave birth to her only child in December. She named her Faith and moved to San Francisco. Speaking of Faith, she decided to pack her cardboard suitcase and move to New York City, like any other aspiring dancer. Unfortunately, her failed attempts to find work caused her to move back to San Francisco. She then met Raymond Marshall and was introduced to Marxism and joined a Marxist organization for the next 8 to 10 years. On her 21st birthday, she received her first camera and her work began. She received her degree from UC San Diego and a MFA later at UC Berkeley. Her first exhibit was at UC San Diego, featuring family pictures and stories. Her photographs focused on the everyday life of African Americans, the stereotypical view, and unfortunately how some of our own African Americans viewed each other. She continued her art through publications, photographs, and videos, even after her brother and father died, leaving her heartbroken. During the time Carrie lived, she experienced segregation. She was alive during Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech, and also during the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. The Korean War ended the year she was born. In the later years, like 2000, she experienced 9/11, the Boston Marathon bomb, and other tragedies. She has also experienced every inauguration of presidents, starting with Eisenhower, the big moment for African Americans when Barack Obama was inaugurated, and even today's Donald Trump. Weems is particularly interested in using the visual language of documentary photography, blending it with narrative fictional scenes to challenge her audience's preconceptions and to force political and social change. She is focused on challenging society's norms. She constantly questioned power. Who has it? Who does not have it? How did they get it? How did they not receive it? How do they maintain it? Why haven't they received it yet? Carrie definitely belongs. Well, to me, Carrie definitely belongs in the contemporary modern art movement. Many of her art fits perfectly within that movement. Weems' art was more explicitly political. It was accompanied by exploring themes of racism and African American gender issues, male and female norms, and a lot to do with identity. Weems was interested in using the visual language of documentary photography, blending it with narrative fictional scenes to challenge her audience preconceptions and to force political and social change. I read an article of them interviewing Weems. She said, "My responsibility as an artist is to make art beautiful and powerful that adds and reveals, to beautify the mess of a messy world, to heal the sick and feed the helpless, to shout bravely from the rooftops and storm barricaded doors and voice the specifics of our historic moment." Weems' art is widely recognized for its ability to effectively provoke contemplation on issues surrounding equality as it relates to race, class, and gender. She is interested in questioning who constructs power, histories, and identities, how they are formed, and why were they formed. I personally think Weems' function was to promote understanding of social groups, classes, or even clans. It was also used to invoke thought within your own identity. It forced yourself to look in the mirror. Who am I? What do I portray? Who do I want? What do I want when people look at me? What do I want them to see? How do I want them to see it? When do I want them to see it? I think many of her art portrayed these type of, or invoked these type of thoughts. A criticism that I researched and I read was basically saying that in Weems' art, she gets trapped into the cliches she's supposedly trying to get out of. For example, a man hoisting a watermelon, or a black woman brandishing a fried chicken leg. I can definitely see how someone can take on that perspective, but I will have to disagree with their perspective. I think that it brings these stereotypical thoughts to light. I always say when you are aware of something, you are slower to offend. So I applaud Carrie Mae Weems and her art, because it just provokes so much thought within communities that don't have that stance. And I am glad that I was able to research her, because I knew nothing about this wonderful living legend in the art field, and hopefully I will be able to experience her art on my own. Thank you.